just the top things to get ranking or factors of being successful on Amazon. And the first one is something that we talk about beating a drum all the time, is the imagery. I just cannot stress enough that your only window into the world of that Amazon customer is your imagery. You don't get to talk to them. You don't get any pre-sales thing. They don't get to come in and look and touch your product. The imagery that you put together is super important. And we see this happen a lot in e-com Career Premium and just in general in the industry, where people spend months and sometimes even over a year developing their products and putting in all this attention to detail into the product and samples and back and forth and the packaging. And then once they get the product and they go put it on Amazon, they sell themselves short by putting up crappy images. Yeah,
and when it comes to product imagery, I'll give a few different little tips here. And I think actually people who are already selling on Amazon, hopefully they can take away something from this too. So this applies to newbies or experienced sellers as well. And I know, Mike, you as well probably have some gaps in your product imagery. I know we do. So sometimes just drumming that same drum can be effective even for experienced sellers. And just a few tips that we share both in the course and that we're going to share now. Number one, product imagery is not just your photos on a white background. And this is by far the number one mistake that people make, is they take 9 great photos of the product in a studio on a white background, put those up on Amazon. They're great at showing the product, but they don't explain the product at all. There's no text on the photos. There's no diagrams explaining the product and the core benefits of it. And that's by far the number one mistake that people make, especially newer sellers, when they're selling on Amazon, is that they don't do graphics design with their product imagery. They just simply have their photos on a white background. And that's a big no-no, and you are missing a lot of opportunity at increasing your conversion rate, because people read your photos. They don't read your bullet points. They don't read your description, but they do read your photos.
Yeah, and a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So they're reading their photos in terms of like they're processing their own thoughts. But they're also reading your photos in terms of, we talk about infographics and other types of call-outs that legitimately have words overlaid on top of the photos, but they're small snippets. Usually 5, 7, maybe 9 words. People will read that. They don't even really read it. You just absorb it, right? When it's 3 words on a page, there's like some psychology behind it. You just see the words and they kind of absorb into your mind. Like you don't have to like actually switch your mind into like, I'm going to read this mode. Like it all kind of happens subconsciously. And so you just kind of like, ultra high density something or whatever. And like you just see that and get the concept without having to like read and process that. Versus in your bullet points or in your description, people have to actually take the time to read that word for word and often just don't even bother.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of have 4 main types of graphics designs that I give all our guys on our team to do for every single product that we launch. So the first one is obviously your main listing image, and that just is the product on a white background because that's what you need for Amazon's TOS. The next one, like you mentioned, Mike, is an infographic, and an infographic is basically just a picture of the product with some nice graphics design with it and illustrating the top 3 to 5 benefits and features of that product. The third image that we include in all of our products is a product specification image. So just showing key dimensions of the product. So we sell a lot of tent products. So people want to know, okay, how long is the tent? How wide is the tent? How many people can it fit? And those are key specifications that people want to be able to find quickly without going through your description. And so we include a product specification image for each of our products. And this applies to pretty much any product that you sell. There are key feature or specifications and dimensions of almost every product out there.
Absolutely.
Yep, and I was just going to add the last one too that we include is a lifestyle photo. So again, with our tents, obviously people want to see that tent being used in that particular setting. So camping is the typical scenario that you use a tent. With your hiking poles, obviously people are probably using them hiking and going up a mountain. If it's an ice pack, people want to see, okay, what part of the body is that ice pack used? With our boating products, obviously they want to see it being demonstrated on a boat. It just conveys that, yes, this product is going to work in the situation that I want to use it in.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that's another one of those things where picture's worth 1,000 words. People can put themselves in that situation, imagine themselves out there camping with the tent, or feeling better from pain relief or whatever from an ice pack, whatever it might be. And you just can't write that out in words. Or if you just have basic product photos, you aren't able to communicate how the product actually kind of comes together. And it's amazing how much that type of photo makes a difference.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Another thing I was just saying, another thing I'm mentioning here is that, as you said, there's gaps even in our photography and things that we're doing. This is a project that should never be done, right? Like when you launch a product and you put all this effort into photography, unfortunately, there's more effort to come. Like you should be having a round 2, round 3, round 4, whatever, split testing. Amazon actually now has some built-in split testing, but we also use a product called Splitly. But we are just hawks now about our conversion rate. And we track this every week, and specifically more every month, because we don't want variance type data, because from week to week it can be a little bit all over the place. But we look at our conversion rate on one of our listings, and we always go into the redesign of imagery or whatever it might be with the thought process of, we can do better. Right? But however much work we put into it, however proud we are of what we put out there, we can do better. There can always be improvement. And sometimes, when you try to do better, sometimes you end up doing worse. And we accept that, that the conversion rate maybe went down. But over time, we're able to improve our conversion rate by continuing to just never be satisfied and trying to squeeze just a little bit more lemon out of that, or a little bit more juice out of that lemon, lemon out of that juice. It makes a difference. Maybe we go from 37.8% conversion to 39.2%. It doesn't sound like a big difference, but all in all things being equal, maybe that's the thing that gets you a tenth or a half a point or whatever ahead of your competitor. And over time, that means that you will rank higher than your competitor. And it does make a big difference, and it really spins up that Amazon flywheel. And so we go over all these imagery examples in the course, and go over some of our own products as well in there to show this off as well.
Yeah, and I just want to add a couple things here. You mentioned Amazon's built-in image testing. So Amazon, I think about 2 months ago, rolled out built-in split image A/B testing within your brand dashboard. So basically, this tool, unfortunately for Splitly, basically eradicated the need for Splitly, because it now is an A/B testing tool for your main images, and it works really well actually. So if you're not using it, you definitely should, because even though you think you might have an idea of what image is going to perform best as your main gallery image, you want to A/B test it, because a good chunk of the time you're going to be wrong, and the image that you thought was crap and was never going to perform well is actually the one that gets the highest click-through ratio. And that is absolutely critical for getting more eyeballs on your listing. If you can get a click-through ratio of 20% instead of 15%, I mean, that's a free 25% bonus page views for your product listing.
And it helps with everything. It helps with your PPC,
and
other endeavors as well. So, anyway, so number one is images, and photography and all of that wrapped up into one.